At Drummond Golf, we understand your passion.
Nice roll.
And that's because every Drummond Golf store is owned and run by a local who loves the game as much as you do.
Yeah, it's come off the face really well.
Someone who knows where you play and what you need.
Oh yeah, looking good.
With Australia's biggest range and expert knowledge.
Great. Now let's try that putter with this grip.
So if you want to improve your game, see a local expert at Drummond Golf.
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Playing from the Tips, Golf Australia Magazine's all-encompassing preview and tipping show that knows no global boundaries or common sense. My name is Jimmy Emanuel, and I have the dubious honour of leading the so-called experts as we navigate all the pertinent details of tournaments from around the world and offer up our best educated guesses as to who might win. This week, we visit Mexico, Thailand, Kenya and Oman on a journey with someone who is arguably hitting it better than any of the players at the Genesis Invitational when it comes to his column on Riviera. I speak, of course, of everyone's favourite mature-age student, Little Roddy Murray. Rod, welcome.
Is that not a contradiction in terms? Little Roddy, mature-age student? Thank you, Jimmy.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's what's it called.
Jimmy's referencing a superb piece you wrote this week about the golf course at Riviera and just how good it was to see a proper golf course.
It felt a bit clumsy, but yes, it was. The idea I think was good, but I sort of ran out of time to really kind of do it properly, so it ended up being good. But yes, I thought it was. We don't make the point enough about how important the golf course is in tournaments. It's the 145th or 157th player each week, and we need to pay more attention to that if the game's going to be at its best. Let's move on.
Oh, can I read your quote?
You can read my quote if you want.
Is that okay, Jimmy?
Yeah, read his quote.
A golf course that isn't walkable, for example, is a bit like a book with poor punctuation. It's still a book, and if you work hard at reading it, you can kind of figure it out, but it never truly satisfies or makes complete sense.
So that
Rod Murray.
Thanks for the little tag. That clearly made sense. Does that make sense, do you think?
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah,
it does make sense.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
very
that
good.
Yeah,
nice work.
It's not as good as Klein.
Some of your best work. You can sometimes eke out something good from that.
Even a blind squirrel occasionally finds an acorn. Is this what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
That other voice is our other so-called expert who owns a remarkable similarity to Tiger Woods. He's recently donned new apparel, or apparel, as he would say himself, and toiled through a game with back pain. Adrian Logue similarly wouldn't let his devoted fans see him leave in a proverbial tipping ambulance after a bad performance. Logue, welcome.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'm not sure what the reference to the
You're a winner.
event is or anything, but I'm taking it.
Tiger's a winner, you're a winner. Let's just go.
I'm taking any comparison to Tiger Woods. That's fine.
Jimmy will fill us in, but did you get another one this week? I think you did.
A win? Yes. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll gloss over that quickly, shortly.
Yes. As always, we look backwards before we look forwards. Any highlights, lowlights from the week? Tiger making his return and withdrawing. Hideki winning again. Gale, Phoenix, Kabori in the Hunter Valley.
I thought it was all good. There was a lot to be interested in this past week, I thought. There's some really good golf players. I mean, Hideki was just obviously staggeringly good on Sunday. Who doesn't want to watch a great player tame a great course? But interesting, I just read something a couple of minutes ago. The first round ratings for the Genesis were like horrendous, 450,000 viewers, more than 50%, like 50% of what they had last year. Golf's in real trouble in America in terms of an entertainment product. I mean, it's one of the signature events, Tiger's playing, all that sort of stuff, and they're doing numbers like that.
Is it always the week after the Super Bowl? Maybe everyone's a bit sported out.
I don't know.
And you got West Coast timings for East Coast. That doesn't necessarily work very well.
A little less hype.
There's a lot of
Tiger too.
But you're talking
it was notable last week that it was the first time Tiger's come back where there was really very low expectations about.
People have finally twigged.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people will make him favourite for the Masters, which is absurd. But that, you're right, that is starting up. You're also getting a generation of fans who never really saw Tiger, never watched him in full flight.
Yeah.
You had the players say, I can't remember, you remember this, Jimmy, players saying, I would love to play against Tiger at his best. And Javal said, no, you wouldn't. Trust me, I was there.
Yeah, exactly.
It was embarrassing, humiliating, and just hard work. So I think there's a bunch of changes going on. That's part of it. Tiger's losing his magic, certainly, in that sense.
Yeah.
Patty Tavatanikit was a highlight for me last week.
Yeah, good point.
Great to see her back in the winner's
Absolutely.
circle. But, really no comparison to Daniel Gale winning on the 18th green at 72nd hole. Didn't lead. He led one hole, I think, out of 72, and then
he led on the 10th and 11th holes. Yeah.
And then got it done.
It was very impressive.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Hold the exact same putt that the junior player hold in the playoff to win the junior title earlier in the day.
Oh,
there you
nice.
go.
There you go. A bit of O'Meara and Scott at the Masters there. Yeah.
I'm becoming quite a Daniel Gale fan, I think.
He's got a bit of spark, hasn't he? A bit of personality.
He's got some spark.
You've got to like that.
Dresses terribly still, but he's actually kind of making it work now.
Pulls it off.
I think he sort of pulls it off.
Yeah.
He's got a strong
and also,
look. I like it.
Very impressive. He didn't win, but Phoenix Campbell, who's still an amateur, who led for 71 holes, that was pretty impressive. And Kazuma Kabori making a little charge, that got everyone going. That was crazy.
There was just no keeping him down.
You mentioned Daniel Gale because, of course, you tipped him to win.
Indeed.
So that added another win to our total, which now sits at 4 for the year and 25 top 10s. So Logue is back in form. Let's ignore that as quickly as we can and go to the LPGA's return. Rod, we're going to trust you to tell us about the Honda LPGA Thailand. And please do tell us, what does this company Honda do?
Well, I probably should, because I've been looking up Magical Kenya, which is the other tournament. I've got no idea what that's. It's got to be some sort of tourism.
Government.
Yeah, it must be some sort of government initiative about
tourism body. Yeah,
but I couldn't find anything sort of relating to it. Anyway, the Honda. They make everything, Jimmy. From what do? They do golf carts, do they? They do cars, bikes, obviously, generators. If you ever lived in a place on a remote property. Anyway, enough about that. This tournament is actually a really good one. It's always gets a good field. It's a limited field, no cut. This is part of this Asian swing. It's a reward for finishing in, I think, the top 60 players on the money list from the year before. So the players love it, so hence it gets a good field. No cut, guaranteed money is always a good way to get professionals to turn up at an event, which is good. But it's had a really good and interesting history, and the one that really stands out, and I'm sure I've written about this before, in 2013, Arya Jatanagarn at the age of 17 was just taking everything by storm. She was the big thing in Thai golf. She had a 2-shot lead standing on the tee at the par 5 18th, the 72nd hole, and took it triple, which was just heartbreaking. It was one of the most heartbreaking things you've ever seen, as she just collapsed on the green at Inbee Park 1. Those are the things that make tournaments memorable and give them a place in your memory. So this is always a good event. Inbee Park won it that year. Lilia Vu's the defending champion. Siam Country Club, the old course. I think there's 3 courses at the Siam Country Club. It's a big, sprawling.
There's 4, actually.
4, okay, there you go.
They're all in different locations.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing that the Siam Country Club actually is in 4 different geographical.
Yeah, so the old course this week is in Chonburi, which is where you also find Amada Spring and the titular spring.
Amada Springs.
The Siam course and the Plantation course are down at Pattaya.
Yep.
And then there's another one somewhere else.
Yeah. So originally built in the 70s.
Big Siam
Country Club fan. Clearly, Jimmy, you're angling for something there, and best of luck to you. Anybody who's got any interest in golf course architecture will be familiar with the name Schmidt Curley, a company that's done an awful lot of design work in the Asian region. They did a redesign of this course not so many years ago. The course itself, nothing amazing. The scoring's outstanding here. 26 under, I think, is the tournament record. Nana Kurtz-Madsen a couple of years ago. Look, the golf is always good. It's always interesting. And it will be so again this week. It's not a major field, but it's got a really good field this tournament. Every year it really does get a good field, and it does tend to be good, interesting golf. Amy Yang's a 3-time winner. 9 top 10s in 13 starts. That's a horses for courses, isn't it? And she played all right, I think, last week. Okay, she bobbed up a couple of times. So, look, it'll be a good week. 4 Australians in the field: Hannah Green, Grace Kim, Steph Kiriakou and Sarah Kemp. You wouldn't write off any of their chances. Hannah Green's played well here once, really. She's played here 3 times, finished in the top 10 her first year. Who knows? Recently married.
Was it her first event since being married?
No.
Sure is.
Oh, is it?
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, since being married, yes. Not a first event for the year, though. Yeah, first event since being married. So who knows? That might have some sort of impact there. I'm going to tip Brooke Henderson because this is
I liked Brooke Henderson.
Well, it's a low-scoring tournament. She's 4th on the birdie list so far. There's 30 birdies already this year in 2 tournaments.
Stat.
Yeah, found a stat.
Base tip.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I found this. I found this amazing website. It's called Google. You can just ask any question and it'll give you answers. It's amazing. You should try it.
I'm an Ask Jeeves man.
Is that still going, Ask Jeeves?
I don't know.
I'll ask Jeeves. So I'm going to go with
Logan be an Alta Vista guy.
Bing.
I was looking at this field. I quite like that Jenny Shin's playing again. She's increasing her profile in this part of the world, but she's just not winning a lot throughout her career.
One
really
rung below the elite at the moment,
exactly.
isn't she? She's a really good player, but
so
not quite
it's
at that
just
next class.
it's a brave pick at this point. But I like that she's in good form and she's playing a lot of these events and trying to play. A win will come for her eventually. But Ayaka Furue is my pick this week.
Oh, nice. I stole yours, so you stole mine.
Very high in the world rankings, yeah. And just always in there and thereabouts. I feel safe about that being a top 10 at least, and she may win.
I'm going to go for not top 10s and safety. I'm going for glory. I'm going Hannah Green first out of the gates after getting married. She's been at home playing at Mount Lawley every day. Mm-hmm. Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Just before we move on, Jimmy, you were up at Cypress Lakes at the Hunter Valley there. I was thinking about this during the week. I've been singing the praises of the WebEx series, player series, as have you and everybody else. It has been a fabulous addition. It struck me that it's the women's side of the game that's benefiting the most. It was a really international field. Lots and lots of players from overseas. It's becoming a legitimate option for up-and-coming women players to come down to Australia, get their card for the WPGA because there's tournaments to play. And I really noticed that last week, I thought, up at Cypress Lakes. It really kind of stood out. It's like, this is really a good field of rising sort of there's potential world beaters in those fields. In a couple of years, we might be talking about a couple of those players who are at Cypress Lakes this
could be like the Dubbo New South Wales Open. It's not quite
let's
up
not
to
go
that.
crazy, you know, but it's on the way. But I really thought that, Jimmy, and I think that's really, really interesting. And it's the sort of thing that in 4 or 5 years' time will really start to pay big dividends. You'll start to see women players around the world go, okay, we're going to go to Australia, play there. There's enough events, there's enough money.
Absolutely.
It's a good cause.
Yeah, no, it's a testament to what Karen Lunn and James Nichols have done. They've put a schedule together that's getting bigger and bigger. Golf New South Wales helps out with their events that are co-sanctioned with the LET that are coming next month. Yep. But you're right. I mean, Pat Piddon, who was right in it early, she played college golf. She's in the top 100 ever women's athletes at University of Central Florida. Like, really? She's a serious player. Yeah, and she's down here playing. Katono Fuyaka is another one who was constantly around the leaderboards. There's a lot of really good players there, and it's probably lifting the standard of our own. I was about to say Jess Whitting, who played really, really well last week.
Justice Bozio.
They've got
puts up numbers.
Justice Bozio, who's now, you know, she's getting towards the age where she'll turn professional. She's getting to test herself in a really good environment. So
I think
I liked Ricky Bush's comment, 5th major vibes at the Hunter Valley.
well, that's for you people from that area.
Yes, indeed. Anyway.
All right. Next, we go to the PGA Tour and the Mexico Open at Vedanta, or Open de Mexico in France, or El Mexico Open in Spanish.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Okay.
So we're played at Vedanta Vallarta. It will be a Greg Norman course that plays host this week. Not expecting it to get too many mentions. But after one of the great weeks of the PGA Tour for course nerds that Rod wrote so well about, we get much more run-of-the-mill. Flat piece of land, big bunkers, water, resort golf. You know exactly what you're getting here.
Big Greg Norman
and for those,
week, just to,
it
telegraph
is.
something coming up.
It's coming later. Meanwhile, for those asking, and also those not, Vedanta is, according to their own website, the most important comprehensive developer of tourism services in Mexico and Latin America, specializing in building and operating luxury vacation destinations, luxury resort hotel brands, real estate golf courses, luxury beach clubs, cruise ships, theme parks, innovative experience, and spectacular entertainment centers.
Wow, that's a HR department, isn't it?
That's
Across
a
a
lot
few
of luxury.
industries there. Yeah, it's a lot of luxury. Yeah, well put.
I know. Anyway, Tony Finau defends here. Aaron Baddeley, Harrison Endicott at the Aussies. Finau is the standout in the field. That's kind of what you would expect for this sort of level of PGA Tour event in the current environment. Francesco Molinari is there. Ryo Hitsatsune. Most exciting for me personally, one of the best names in golf, Adrian Dumont de Chassat is in the field. So get around Adrian Dumont.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. And with all that in mind, let's get some tips. Rod,
you go first since you're such a winner.
Logue.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This not a fantastic field, I've got to say. There's
no bad players on the PGA Tour, but you make a good point in terms of profile particularly.
And I think this is an opportunity for one of my favourite players to make to get a win on the board or another win. This is Keith Mitchell, Kashmir Keith.
Where did that come from?
He's a watch guy. He's very stylish, and I like Keith Mitchell.
He's a solid thump too.
A very big hitter.
Big
Yeah,
hitter.
Lovely golf swinger.
Yeah, big hitter.
Like his style.
Yeah.
Kashmir Keith.
And one of the great videos from the Players' Championship when he air-horned in his backswing, which happened to
Slammed
Andre
the club.
Lorte last week, who took it much better at Cypress Lakes.
Yeah.
Yes. Rod, your thoughts after Kashmir?
I'm agreeing with Logan in terms of the profile of the field. I think it's a really good opportunity for a player like nice guy Nikolai Højgaard. Good player making his way in America. He's in the field and really good player. He's had a good start in America. So
It wouldn't be playing from the tips if we didn't pick a Højgaard.
No,
every
that's
week,
exactly
so.
right. There's got to be a
It's
Højgaard
true.
in it. Yeah.
Big Danish connection here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with also a guy I've found to be very nice last summer, Patrick Rogers. Played really well at the Australian Open. Feels like
Hasn't
he's
had a
playing
win,
the
has
best
he?
golf of his life. Never won.
Highly
Never won.
credentialed.
And,
Amateur career and college career.
Yep. Should win. Should be done. When he's done, he should have at least one win.
Be a good story.
Let's get around Patrick Rogers. Yeah.
How does that happen, Jim?
And then
You watch the players close. How does a guy like him not make that next step? He was the next big thing. And just
someone always has a lower score.
Yeah.
Generally, that's how that goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think at a certain point for him when he was younger and expected to win straight away, it becomes a mental thing too. It's very hard, and I'm not 100% sure, but
hard to be.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, hard to be a big fish in a little pond, and then you jump into the big pond. It's a whole other world, and not everybody makes that transition well. Some make it surprisingly well, but not everybody does it because it becomes about much more than just the golf and hitting the ball and hole in the putts. That's, I think, what changes.
Yeah, and some people play their best golf in the early stages in their college age or anything like that. Some
Ben
people
Crenshaw
just
reckons
develop
when
at an early age.
he's never played better golf than when he was 17 or 18. He said, made me that win the Masters look pedestrian. That's how good I was at 17 or 18. I'd never reached those heights again. It's extraordinary. It's a crazy game.
Yep.
You know the feeling when your mate's golf ball flies past yours? Or when you're on the green in regulation, but he holds it from the bunker? At Drummond Golf, we get it. That's why we have our lowest price guarantee. As Australia's biggest, you can count on our massive buying power for the lowest prices in golf. But if you do happen to find a lower advertised price, we'll beat it. The Drummond Golf lowest price guarantee. Unbeatable. Conditions apply.
All right, let's go to Africa and one of the best tournament names in golf, the Magical Kenya Open, previewed by the magical Rod Morris.
Indeed. Well, I couldn't find anything about Magical. Do you know that it's it's a tourism thing? Yeah, okay, fantastic.
It's their tourism body.
Yeah. They also sponsor a Ladies European Tour event, which I think was played a month or two ago. Not at this golf course, but it's also called the Magical Kenya Open. So good on them for getting behind golf. Been played since 1967. It's got a fair old history. You always stumble across these tournaments in Africa and parts of Asia, and you're amazed how long they've been going for. Joined the schedule in 1991 as part of the Challenge Tour for the European Tour. 2019, it became a full-blown European Tour event. It's €2.5 million or US dollar purse. So it's one of the bigger ones in this level of tournament for the European Tour. Been some pretty good winners here over the years. Seve, Ian Woosnam, Eamon Darcy, Ken Brown, Trevor Immelman, a couple of Masters winners in there. Henrik Stenson finished runner-up to Immelman that year. So over the years, they've attracted some really good players over there. Played at the, I'm going to struggle with this, Muthaga Country Club.
Muthaga.
In Nairobi.
Muthaga. I believe my brother's a member. So there you go.
Is that right? How did that happen?
Correct.
There's got to be a story there.
He lives in Kenya.
He lives in Kenya. Oh, okay. There you go. Is he going this week?
He's married. my sister-in-law swum for Kenya. Should have gone to the Olympics.
Is that right? There you go.
There's a little nugget for you.
That is a nugget. We might talk more about that when we finish. Oh, I've got to go to school. We might talk more about that later. Course was originally a 9-holer in the sort of 1900s. It went to 18 holes in the 1920s, 20s. Course of 2 halves is what everybody says. Front nine's quite tight, tree lined. The condition looks amazing. You go and look at the photos of the golf course, and it's not what you expect. You don't expect the sort of condition that you see from this course. The back nine's played around a bunch of old sort of man-made lakes. None of that bothers the pros. The scoring tends to be good. 21 under was the winning score last year, so I expect similar sort of that as well. One of the most important things about these sorts of ones, lots of local golfers in the field this week. There's not a particularly strong European Tour field, and that's doing something to grow the game, quote unquote, that other tours don't do. That's a really important part of these kinds of events. Those players locally get to see their games compared to week in, week out European Tour players. So that's a good and positive thing. 3 Australians in the field. Connor McKinney got an invite. I'm not sure how that, does he know your brother? Is that how that happened, Jimmy? Connor, you got an invite for the tournament?
I don't think so.
Hayden Barron and Tom Power-Horan, who I haven't seen bob up in the field list for quite a while. So I don't know whether has he been back here in Australia not playing much, Jimmy? I haven't seen Tom for a while. So he had, of course, that great finish a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he's not been playing the events here, no.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. Dylan Fratelli's probably the highest profile player in the field. Rikuo Hoshino, who won a couple of weeks ago in the last European Tour event, he's also in the field. So it'll be, as the European Tour tends to be week in and week out, it'll be a pretty interesting tournament to watch. There'll be some decent golf. I'm going to pick Alex Fitzpatrick because, and this is very scientific, like you'll appreciate.
Because you picked him last week?
He feels about you. No, I didn't pick him.
Or the week before?
No, Jimmy picked him last week.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
I did.
He feels about you, and if you pick players the week after Jimmy or I pick them, you tend to go okay.
Okay.
Never the week we pick them, but the week after. So expect Alex to have, I expect you to be on Alex next week, Logan. I expect him to win.
Logue, your thoughts?
Well, it's a national open. That's the Open de Kenya.
It's the magical open.
And
it is indeed.
The French, we know how much the French love a national open. So I'm going with the Frenchman, Romain Langas.
Oh, good player. Has he won here before?
He's a good player.
Good one.
He's like quite high in the world rankings.
I think he's won here.
He's won
and has a
world tour event.
And has a good record here.
He's
got a good record here, that's for sure.
Well, there you go. I feel even better about
well done.
my pick.
You can a little peek into Logue's research. Oh, has he played Willie before? That's nice. Oh, that really makes my pick.
Good. That's good.
Great.
Yeah. I'm going to go with another Australian. I'm going to go with Hayden Barron, who made a good start to his DP World Tour career, is just kind of built for this kind of golf. So I'm going to get around Baz. He's also one of my favourite dinner companions at a tournament. So, if he wins, he can pay for dinner. That's good.
And full mark, that's learning your craft too, isn't it? When you find yourself playing in Kenya, you're really learning about being a professional golfer for sure. Full marks to anybody who makes those journeys. Good on them.
I thought you were going to go with Hoshino there, Jimmy.
I did think about Hoshino, but
I know. Great affection you have for Hoshino.
I do have great affection for Hoshino, but no, not this week. Finally, the International Series kicks off for the year on the Asian Tour, with the first stop being Oman, and we turn to our desert specialist, Adrian Logue.
The International Series Oman, I really think this is the tournament of the week, at least from the men's tour. The LPGA Thailand has a better field, and it's probably a more credentialed tournament, but the International Series, I think, is really maturing as a product. We saw these events begin in 2022 when there was like a $300 million investment into the Asian Tour from LIV. And I feel like at this point they've put that money to quite good use.
I agree.
And last year, these events saw quite good fields every week, and I think that's just going to become more the case this year as the LIV players, that second tier of LIV players, and increasingly even the top tier of LIV players, are desperate for world ranking points. These are the events which they'll be circling on their calendar and thinking that we've got to make it happen that week. And the other thing about these international series events is that they're played in quite interesting places this year. They're going to Macau, Morocco, Indonesia, Qatar, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, and a few more yet to be confirmed. It amazes me these days that it just seems normal that tours don't announce events.
6 weeks before the tournament, there's no venue.
Yeah, that never used to happen, did it? No. But here we are. This is welcome to 2024. Anyway, this week it's being played at Al Mouj in Oman, in the Muscat area of Oman. It's a Greg Norman design from 2012. A spectacular location, has to be said. probably are a little bit familiar with this course. Last year it hosted the International Series event at Oman, but it's also been a DP World Tour host for a few years and Challenge Tour before that. It's got the Hajar mountain range on one side and flanked by the Indian Ocean on the other side. And a pretty spectacular location. A testament to what you can achieve when money is no object.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Looking at the course, it actually looks quite interesting. I get strong Yas Links vibes from it, which I really quite enjoy Yas Links.
I do too, yeah.
And I think this is similar. And it is quite highly rated in the region.
Short grass around the greens?
Yeah. It's quite linksy. It's not too bad at all. As I sort of alluded to, it's a decent field boosted by a number of LIV players who are using it as a stop on the way to LIV Jeddah next week. David Puig.
We went through this last week.
Puig. Will be back. Matt Wolf, Brandon Grace, Lucas Herbert, Louis Oosthuizen, Abraham Ansah, Anaban Lahiri, defending champion Takuma Kanaya is playing again. And most notably, Joachim Niemann, who I think is going to be a complete menace this week in this event and is actually my pick. I think this is one of those events where he's going to have circled it in the calendar thinking this is extremely important for my world ranking. Of the players this week, I think he is the highest world ranked player in this field, but he's slipped out of the top 50. And that's where things start to get a little bit difficult.
Is he in any of them? He's in the Open, is he not? Not even in the Open? I think because when he won the other week in LIV, he was saying,
he would be. I think he would be in the Open off the back of the Australian Open.
The Australian Open
qualifying.
It's the only one he's in. The rest no.
So I think he's going to be an absolute menace this week, and he'll be a winner.
So do I. He's my tip. Rod, who's yours?
He was my tip too, but I'm going to jump off him and go with Takumi Kanaya. Clearly he stands out. It's not just the way he's been playing, because you're right, he's incentivised. You can't imagine that. And that's as intense now as when he won the Australian Open. It's not like he's advanced much in the world rankings, so that drive, that desperation is still there. But I'll go with Takumi Kanaya because he's one of my favourite players, Takumi. I'd love to see him go back to back. But I think
everyone likes Takumi.
Yeah, good player.
All right. That will do it for episode 51 of Playing from the Tips. Rod, before we do let you go, you didn't tell us how we went on our first big school project.
Hopeless. Embarrassingly badly.
Have you got your mark back, though? You think you went badly. No, you probably went okay.
I didn't think I went badly. I went badly.
We'll see.
No, it was terrible.
We'll actually let the listeners know when you get your mark.
Yeah, we will let the listeners know.
I don't think it's like that. I don't think you get like a mark. You just get probably a page of feedback which says, do better, be better.
Read the page of feedback.
We can read the page, yeah.
We'll see.
That sounds like the exact excuse. That sounds like the exact kind of answer I used to give my dad when he'd say, "Did you get your mark back?" Oh, no, you don't actually
they don't get marks.
You get no, they don't do that.
They're not giving reports anymore until you finish year 12, so don't be waiting for anything to come home.
That's right.
There's not going to be any. Yeah, no, it was terrible.
Anyway, have you packed your lunch for school today?
No.
Okay.
No, okay.
You're going to go to the tuck shop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can we milk that anymore, or are we done with that now, do you think?
No, yeah, we've got more. Yeah. And
finishes in April, so make the most of it.
Okay. Logan, I'm assuming you're going to be yellow bucket hatted next time we see you on a golf course to pay homage to Daniel Gale.
Perhaps we'll see. I don't know. I can't quite pull off his style.
Oh, you wear some pretty bad clothes.
Yeah. That's exactly where we were going with this.
Thank you. I'll take that.
1-2 from Rod and I. Okay. You can, of course, follow along with all of these events on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and get out and get a copy of the latest magazine, which is the March issue, where you can read about the Order of Merit race on the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia in its final stages. That Callum Hill has done extensive research speaking to all of the contenders. And there's also a story about Gabby Ruffles' debut season on the LPGA Tour by the great Karen Harding. We will be back next week. Thank you for listening.